Hello, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of Late Night Craft Talk. Countdown timer's going. We have a special, beautiful, budding. What other anecdotes can I make here?
It's going to be a very
Oh, this is a show for green thumbs.
flowery presentation today.
Very blooming, very colorful, and if you have hay fever,
very tropical-esque.
tropical F. So here we go, waiting. Usually we start getting, what you see Maya here in the next minute.
Yeah, I'm checking all the crazy that was happening earlier.
Oh, yeah. Well, we'll talk about that during the pre-show when we tried to go do that promo.
Are you seeing it go onto our Facebook pages?
I'm about to. I got the notifications. I'm about to go over and check.
It says it's live.
We can do the technical stuff now.
It says it's live. Okay.
I hear me talking.
Now if you guys, yeah. So hey everyone, share because you care.
Oh, we got a few viewers so far. Ticking up. Yeah, I'm live. I got to share. Let's make sure. Yep, that's me. Okay, share. We are live for this week's episode of Late Night Craft Talk. Let's say this week. Get it up there. All right. Oh, Wendy's on. I hear y'all talking. Hello, Wendy, but I don't hear you. How come I can't hear you, Wendy? Or is it one of those technical full of the things again?
Okay, let's see. Who should I
give us a quick update? Let us know how Colonel Mustard's doing.
Yeah. Sorry. Colonel Mustard. Oh my goodness.
We need a Colonel Mustard update.
I'm tagging all of our friends right now.
Even the ones that don't want to tell you no.
Yes. I'm tagging like everyone. Let's see. I'm tagging. So I'm trying to think who else would want to know about this.
Let's
see. I'm trying to think.
I cannot type and talk like walking and chewing bubble gum.
Let's see. Yes, okay. I just tagged a whole bunch of people. Let's see. Share. Okay. Oh my goodness. I'm so excited. We're going to have a really awesome show. I'm so excited. Yay.
Hoorah.
Yeah.
I'm just still typing this description because my predictive text is being too unpredictable. And share. Good, go. All right. We got a few going on. All right. Hi, Wendy. Looking at Wendy.
I know.
Wendy's in stealth mode. That's why we can't hear her. We need that Colonel Mustard update if you want to share. Otherwise, where's Maya?
I know. Where is Maya? She's always here.
She had a job interview. She had one job. And we're still waiting for it.
Okay. I tagged her on the...
I'm going to go ahead and share the Colonel Mustard update.
Colonel Mustard went to the vet today. No cone, unless he's there scratching. Still inflammatory. Has a bit of swelling still. Well, at least he's on the mend. So that sounds good.
Yeah.
Glad to hear that. Glad to hear. Let's see where Maya is.
And we're waiting. Oh, the viewers are jumping up.
Where's Maya?
She's going to get the look. She's going.
I know. We're gonna
get the look.
We're gonna have to give her the look because seriously, Maya.
No cone.
That's good.
No cone of shame for Colonel Mustard. All right, we got a few more popping on to watch here. Cool. Folks, say hi so we don't feel alone in the void between either space or my ears. Take your pick. Same thing. All right.
Yeah, let's see here. Okay. But yeah, I've been...
Trail mix water, and this week's kombucha is gingerberry with 9 billion living probiotics. Okay. There we go. Counting down, 5 minutes to go, halfway to the fun time, showtime. I need more water. Svea, I'm going to go fill this water bottle that you can see, but our audience can't.
Okay.
I'm going to go fill this, and I would like you to discuss with the audience hold on. Guess who just signed on?
Vivian.
Vivian's here.
So should we let Vivian be the president of the Friday Ninja Monster Sushi Squad this week because Maya is not here?
Vivian, by our democratically elected absolute monarchy of the show, we are designating you El Presidente tonight because Maya's not here. So you have overthrown her for the evening.
Yes, you have overthrown Maya.
And
you may have to fight with her if she comes on.
Svea, what do we do when Maya signs on? Or
Tell
what
her
do we do when
she's been
Vivian
demoted
signs
for the night.
Huh?
Tell her she's been demoted for the night.
Oh, no. What do we do when Vivian signs on? Go grab the thing so we can make a quick appearance.
Grab the thing. Grab the thing. Oh, I know. I don't have one. Here, I know. I have. Well, this
okay. Vivian, good. We're making a rare pre-show appearance just for you. Ready? Whoop. There it is. There we go. Vivian, this is for you. We're glad you signed on. Thank you, Vivian. Just remember how dangerous it is to do the show with scissors.
Okay.
Or both scissors.
I have no idea. Vivian did this really funny episode where she had this knife and she was talking to imaginary kids. And she's like, now let me tell you. And she's just pointing at them with the knife. It's really
she's
funny.
very humble. She accepts.
Okay.
Viv is in the house tonight. Okay. I'm going to go over and fill this water bottle. We have 3 minutes. When I leave, please don't convince the audience to come over. And we're getting messages. Please don't convince the audience to send me large pizzas with the triple helpings of garlic on it.
Okay. James leave.
I'm going to walk away.
Okay. I was like, oh, did James leave?
Vivian, it's your job to make sure as El Presidente, Svea doesn't have everybody order a pizza in my house with triple garlic. Do I like pineapples? I'm walking away. I'm going to assume safe things. Now. I'm going to come back to a safe place.
Go away now, James. Go away. Go away. Go get water. Okay, everyone. Okay, everyone needs to call Pizza Hut. James's address is 5392 El Presidente Avenue, Indio, California, 95329. Order him pizza right now. Order him anchovy, extra anchovy, extra anchovy, and pineapple pizza. He would love it. He would love it. Seriously, please. Or actually, you know what you could even do? You can also mention how he really likes anchovy, extra anchovy, pineapple pizza. And James is trying to pretend, but he's still here. I can see him.
You can't see me. I'm not here. You can't see me if I'm on the camera. How do you know I'm here?
So, Maya, I hope you feel better. Whoa. Vivian has taken over as president this week. So she knows she'll take care of business this week.
Yep. And Maya, this is going to hurt you. That's going to more than hurt us, but you were late. You get it. Ready, Svea? Maya, you had that coming. All right. Less than a minute to go to countdown time, folks. That's 2 pre-show appearances we did. We're making.
Oh, I know.
We're adding on airtime. All right.
No.
Okay. Are we going to do the real countdown or the professional countdown?
Oh, and then one more thing. If you open the show notes, I made a list of things. Okay.
I'm going to open the show notes while you give a thingy thing.
Okay.
At the beginning of the show. The countdown. Do we do the normal countdown or we do the professional countdown?
Maya said she was not late.
She was just quiet, waiting to see what happened. All right, countdown.
Okay.
Folks, you ready to count down with us? Here we go. And 10,
9,
8,
7,
6,
5,
4,
3,
2.
1.
What comes after 0?
Woohoo!
The opening credit. It's time for Late Night Craft Talk with hosts Svea Kamori Yang and James Hermes. Let's get the fun started. It's time to start the show. Hi.
Hey everyone, how are you
Don't
doing?
do that. I almost spilled. This trail mix almost spilled off my desk. I almost went out my nose.
Yeah.
And that would have been embarrassing.
Yes, I know, but I mean, gotta have it the right way. Okay, so everyone.
In a chronistic.
Okay, so for everyone, just so you know, you've never watched our show before. This is Late Night Craft Talk. We're on every Friday night from 10 to 11 p.m. We like to talk about all kinds of interesting topics. We try to teach you about cool things. We try to show you cool things. We bring you cool places. We do all kinds of cool, fun things. So if you like the show, make sure to like and subscribe to our channels. We have a Facebook page. We have a YouTube channel. We have a Twitch channel. So it's all over the place. Like if you prefer watching on Twitch, you can watch on Twitch. If you prefer watching on YouTube, you can watch on YouTube. If you prefer to watch on Facebook, you can watch on Facebook. And you can watch all of them, except for I think on Twitch. You can watch all of them afterwards.
We got to make that into a rhyme or a rap.
Yeah, right?
Goals. Matter of fact, I'm doing the math here. We got it up on there, folks, when we do this. We actually have a list of words streaming to on our screens. And it's at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different places. Channels on the internet, 3 different major platforms.
Yeah. They're all along on our 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. At the same time.
That many.
Yes.
Never take this many.
Yes. So we just want to make sure that we spread and stuff. Oh my goodness. We have a whole bunch of new people. There's Mimi Lisa. Hello. Joya. Hi.
Howdy, Joya. Howdy, Mimi.
And Vivian and Wendy. Okay. All right. So, hey, James, what's been going on with Elk Rock Traders this week?
I want to go second.
Okay.
Because I have that cool transition story.
Okay. All right.
You always make me go first so you can learn it, just do the embarrassing and go, I'm going to rescue the show with my Dancing Bear announcements.
Okay.
Well, this time, I'm going to ruin it second. Okay,
so I can't introduce myself.
Okay, folks, I'd like to introduce Svea. Oh, I think it's coming out correctly. This is Svea. She's the co-host. She's the one that we have to tolerate every week. We got to go with it. You know, we're inclusive. Hi, Svea. You give me the look. And Svea, what's going on with Dancing Bear this week?
So this week, we actually have finished the CDCR catalog. I'm super excited about that. We're going to be mailing all those out starting on Monday or Tuesday. And we have added a whole bunch of Delica beads. We added Japanese seed beads. We added hair pipe. We added rune stones. We added art cards, culture cards. We added a whole bunch of new stuff. So we basically about doubled our catalog. There are very strict restrictions, but we do offer this as a service to the natives that would like to bead while they're incarcerated. So it's actually kind of a nice thing that they can do and keep their culture while going through what they're going through. So that's a big thing we just finished. Additionally, we have a lot of graduation stoles orders that we've been filling. We have a bunch of them in stock. So that's a huge thing. Okay, James, make sure to put your phone on silent.
We need some way to know when we get messages, they come through. I am centric on the viewers.
Okay.
Then I don't turn it off every week just because you say something and I have to point out.
Yeah.
We want to know when the viewers come in.
So we have a whole bunch of graduation stoles in stock. So if there's any graduate that needs a grad stole, we do have them in. So they're ready to ship. So you can put in your orders. So, hey, James, what Elk Rock Traders this week?
Well, right now I'm still looking for the show outline notes.
If you type in show notes in
I'm
Google
gonna have to
Docs?
do a search because I'm looking on my phone, and
And the
we'll go
share.
with it.
Well,
I'm gonna try another form. But
okay.
while we do this, what?
I'll send it to you in a link in our chat.
No, I'm going to go over because I was looking through my phone and on the drive thing, and it's listing things in like just crazy orders. And I'm like, okay, descending, and it's going, no, I'm going to do it my way, which means technology is trying to show us, and it's Skynet wearing its reeling its head here. All right, Elk Rack, folks. Next weekend, Father's Day weekend, Saturday and Sunday, is the Imperial Beach Powwow, right by the pier, right on the beach. You almost can't go any further southwest in the continental United States than this. We will be at that powwow Saturday and Sunday. Look for us. We're almost right in front of the pier. It is a fun powwow right by the beach. I managed to be at the booth most of the time, even though the beach is right there, and I bring a surfboard. Let's just say I get it out of my system on Sunday morning. The water's cold, but beach, powwow, 2 thumbs up right there. So look for us there. If you live in San Diego County or you need something to do and you live in Southern California, come on down, enjoy the beach. Supposed to be some next weekend, and look for us at the powwow. Yay. Best of multiple different kinds of worlds right there. So that's awesome stuff. Otherwise, we got a little follow-up from last week's show.
Oh, hold on a second. So Maya, it's not this weekend. It's not this weekend. It's next weekend. Not
next
this weekend.
Father's Day weekend next weekend.
Okay.
Bring your dad down to the powwow. I'll have a lot of knives. Buy dad a knife and go, Dad, I love you. Here's a knife, an obsidian or maggot blade knife.
Here's a knife.
Because if you don't love your father.
Okay.
It's in the stars. I read it on the internet.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Okay. Little follow-up from last week's show, folks. If you watched, we did a show on National Trails Day and Leave No Trace Camping. We're going to kind of concentrate on National Trails Day, which was Saturday, June 3rd. And announced on the show and been saying that I'm running a large service project at Lake Paris State Recreation Area. And there's some pictures and a fun story to share from that. Shall we?
Yes, please share.
Oh, definitely. So, folks, this is, needless to say, at Lake Paris, one thing they like is we paddle this island that's pretty big called Alessandro Island with kayaks. We know that some of you know I kind of like kayaks a little bit. And we're able to paddle out there and go collect trash and do some maintenance. And the Rangers love it. So that's my truck on Friday afternoon. There's not 8. There's not 10. There's not 12. There are 14 kayaks in my truck. 3 on the rack, 3 in the bed, and 8 on the trailer. And I could have done 9. So excuse me. Plus another 2 on the 4Runner. 16 kayaks we brought. I look like Jed Clampett of the Beverly Hillbillies driving down the freeway with kayaks. There are people going like that. I got to show it. We're driving along, and there's people going like this on the 10, going past me going, good God. Do they look at boats or what? But that said, the weekend went well. So a couple of cool things to show. I got to get the little mousy thing. Okay. We had just a few people show up to the service project.
Yeah, wow.
Almost 70 people were at the service project.
Wow, 70 people. Whoa.
That was big. So that was cool stuff. And we were able to split it up. I was able to take about 14 people. As a matter of fact, got to put a shout out. I'm going to get a picture downloaded to have it. Kelly Jo Miller, one of our viewers, co-host of the show, friend of the show, awesome person, was there and helped with the kayak group at National Trails Day. And she was a huge help. Love when Kelly Jo Miller is able to come and join us. But we had like 50 people along the shore collecting trash. We were able to cover about 4 miles of shoreline. And that part went quick with that many people. And that's the kayak group going out. Obviously, Svea's got to go over. Folks, I want to talk to you a minute while Svea's going.
It's not going to work.
Hi, Svea.
I'm right here. Oh, my gosh. I just wanted to get some water. Jeez.
I was trying to be nice to the audience, explain why you walked off. Just walked off.
I'm letting you have your moment, James.
I let you have your moment. My moments tend to be ones that show that my blondness. Okay. We got the kayaks out there. Good stuff. Able to collect a lot of trash at the island and hit some of the riparian area. We had just a few people in kayaks that day. And in the afternoon, they got to play with the boats, do volleyball throughout the afternoon at a place called Sail Cove. Went awesome. And that is the day. But a fun story from that. So is that black cherry? Is that black cherry?
Yes.
0 calories.
It's Zevia.
Zevia. Do you actually like the taste of that?
Mm-hmm.
Or
bad.
did you have to acquire the taste because the only reason you drink it is because it's a purple soda can?
Well, I like the fact that it's within my healthy choices.
I'm trying to think of a joke, and I could think of like 10, but I don't know which one I'm going to say because they're all going to get me in trouble.
Yes.
So I'm going to do the polite thing and just say,
Good job.
Good job. Okay. All right. How did the kayak rolling go on Zoom? Okay. Let me finish the story. Let me address that and I'll tell the story actually. So Vivian asked, how did the kayak rolling go on Zoom? So a lot of you know I'm in the college class. I'm taking this month. It's going to be introduction to public speaking or fundamentals of public speaking. It's not actually this week. It's this Tuesday. I have to do a 5-minute speech. That's hard to do. Of a how-to video. And what I'm doing, folks, is teaching how to roll a kayak. So I'll have my phone on a mount that's very secure, connected to the kayak, and I'm going to be talking about it. And I'm going to go underwater and take the paddle and roll back up and talking about it. And then how to get back into a capsized kayak, doing this from a kayak. So essentially, I have to roll a kayak for college grade. Life is good. So
awesome.
That's what's happening. And I will have video of it. I'll be recording it. I'll upload it, and I'll have it on, if not next week's show, the week after. So a fun story from last weekend. And this is actually pretty cool. So I go up, we had the show pre-recorded last week because I had to go up to Lake Paris, spend the night. I'm out there camping. I'm in one of the quieter areas. It was nice. And I get over there because I had to go kayaking around the lake before I went to camp. And I pull up, truck, all these kayaks. People are looking. And I pull up, get out, start setting my backpacking tent. And I went, the group next door is pretty quiet. That's nice. And it was like 3 families. And so I'm starting to set my tent. And some of the teenagers are looking at me. Like, what's up with this? Whatever. And then I see them. They're watching. And they come out with a big box. And I'm thinking, they're really quiet for teenagers. There's like 6, 7 of them, big guys. And they go out with this big family tent, take it out of the box, and they start going like this, fingering it, and then they start signing to each other. They're deaf. And watching them set up the tent, I'm not staring, but I'm just shooting a few glances every so often because they're trying to set up the tent and work the stakes and the poles while signing when they need their hands to do this too. They're doing it one-handed. Some would get mad. You'd see it. And then they kind of kept on looking over at me, and I went, okay. The parents are there. They don't know how to set it up, but they want the kids to do it. But they see me, and one goes, and I went, and they're like, yeah. So I don't know sign language. So I go over, and I spend about 5 minutes working with these teenagers that are deaf to set up the tent. And I would basically take one, connect it, look at one, go, look at one, just go, hey, kind of tap him, look at me. Or a couple of them said, I take the pole, go, this, you do it. And they go over and do it. Took about 5 minutes. Great experience. But when they're mad and they can't figure out the tent and they're trying to figure out how to put together and they're saying their frustrations in sign language and then dropping the tent and the hammer, 2 things that don't go well together. But it was still an absolutely wonderful experience working to do that. So the fun part is the communication that happened, to be able to work with them on that, to show them was fantastic. The thing to take away is if you were frustrated and airing your frustrations in American Sign Language while having to work with your tent on something like, work with your hands on stick of a tent, don't get frustrated and complain while you're holding a hammer and drop it on your foot. It happened. So that's the takeaway from that. But fun stuff. And at the time that we bring out, folks, should you do the introduction?
Yes.
I think you really should.
Yes. So we have a very special guest. This week, James talked last week about the trails. and kayaking and trails and nature.
What
And
was kayaking? It was just the trails and then like conservation, environmental conservation.
so
Public
I said
service.
to James, I said, you got a show where you did a topic you wanted to do. And now I want to do a topic I want to do. And so for those of you who know me, I love, love, love plumerias. They are just the most beautiful flower. They're amazing. I have had so much fun raising my plumerias, taking care of them, having them bloom and smell amazing, and just all the cool stuff that's gone along with it. So I wanted to do an episode of plumerias, and I was very lucky to find an individual. We have a great guest. He's actually a member of the Southern California Plumeria Society, and he's a tree cutting coordinator. So he knows lots of great information about plumerias, guys. Like, this is a major treat. I'm very excited. Do you want to show the slide?
We got it loaded and ready to go, folks. Welcome to the show. Tonight's guest, Jeff Sharp, the tree trimming coordinator from the Southern California Plumeria Society. And Jeff, welcome to the show. It is such a pleasure to have you. Thank you so much.
Yay.
Good evening. I'll bring the light a little closer. It's. I guess I'll sit closer.
Yes. So welcome to our show. You look like you have like a shadow around you a little.
Yeah.
That's how virtual it is, right? My arms disappear every once in a while. So,
love a shiny forehead.
Yeah. So tell us about the Plumeria Society.
Well, the Southern California Plumeria Society was started about 28 years ago with a few people from Orange County and a bunch of people from San Diego. And really because one of the gentlemen who lived in Orange County, he bought a stick in 1950 at an Army surplus store. It said flower stick from the Philippines. Had no clue what it was and started growing it. And one of the pictures we're going to show is the tree. But he started growing it. He was asking people questions and no one knew what it was. No one had ever heard of it or seen anything like it until he came across some Navy guys in San Diego who had brought sticks back from Hawaii when they were stationed in Hawaii. And that's how the Southern California Plumeria Society started. 12 people that knew what plumeria were, found each other in the days way before internet, calling each other on the phone, writing letters. And now we're doing things like this, virtually talking all the time about plumerias.
That is so cool. Okay, so tell us a little bit about the history of plumerias.
So most people think of Hawaii and plumerias, but they were actually discovered in the Caribbean. And the Spaniards, when they came on their search for China, came across plumeria trees. The natives taught them how to propagate them, and then they brought them on their ships. And as they sailed from island to island exploring, they traded with the natives of those islands for provisions. They traded with them their plumeria cuttings all the way to the Pacific. And when they were crossing the Pacific on their way and ran into the Philippines, and then they started their missions in the Philippines, just like we have in California, they planted plumeria trees at all the missions. So if you went to one of the missions in the Philippines, you would find 500-plus-year-old plumeria trees growing out in front, big, huge monster trunks. They found them in Taiwan, and they estimate it to be 500 to 600 years old also. Wow. So Spaniards must have got up there also.
I assume that when you talk about the age, these are plants that's like basically like a cloning process where they just keep on propagating themselves, or do the plants actually, a single tree that blooms the plumeria, does it actually live that long?
Plumeria is actually a succulent. They're in the dogbane family of succulents. So one of the things when we talk about trimming trees, we always cut an angle cut on the tree, and then we recut the base of the cutting to a flat cut so that it'll root better. when you look at a cactus that loses a piece of cactus, wherever it lands is where it starts rooting. A plumeria will do the same thing. You can lay a stick on the ground and you have it just the right just the right way to grow. I mean, I'm thinking, but it's late. It'll just push roots out wherever.
It is late.
It's that continual cycle of lose it, regrowth is where they judge that the overall age.
And they will grow into monster trees if you give them enough time.
Just judging from our pre-show meeting with the photos right there and the folks what they're going to see, I had no idea till tonight that was the case. That's pretty dang cool.
Yeah. So do you so how long does it take to get flowers from plumerias?
So that's always a question that's asked, and it's always hard to answer. But the easiest way is you look at the scars on the branch. So you'll see the regular leaf scars that look like smiles, and then you'll see a scar at a split, and that scar that's at the split is the inflorescence scar. And then you can follow that up the branch and measure to the next scar and determine how long it's going to take for a branch to bloom. And obviously, the more tips on the branch, the more energy is split between all those tips trying to outreach each other to the sun to be able to bloom. And one of the things that we do as when we go out and trim trees is we take out the large clusters and leave the single tips or the double tips for the homeowner, and then we sell the large clusters at our meetings.
That's really interesting, because then you're so when you're doing your tree trimming, you're actually optimizing your tree trimming so that the mother tree will actually have a lot more blooms. That's really cool. That's awesome.
We learned that from the fruit people. They go in there. The apple people will go and they look at their trees and they look for a spike on a branch. And when the spike comes out from the branch, that's where an apple's going to grow. Then they'll clip the branch right above that spike so that the apple gets all the energy that's going up that branch, and it doesn't continue up the tree to create more leaves and more branching. And then you get a better fruit. So we treat the blooms like the fruit of a fruit tree.
Interesting. That's cool. So, what kind of tips can you give to someone who wants to grow a plumeria tree?
The biggest tip that I see people make mistakes with is watering. Your feeder roots on a plumeria tree are at the end of the canopy. You can't put a drip system in and put it right next to the trunk of the tree and expect the tree to absorb that water. Those are all anchor roots. They're like a palm tree. They have the anchor roots right at the base of the tree. The feeders are moving out along the edge, and they're going to be out, the same distance as the canopy ends, because the leaves are catching the water and dropping the water on the ground under the tree where their feeder roots are. And then feeding, a lot of people want to buy that bloom buster type of fertilizer, but most of that stuff wasn't really formulated for California or Texas or Florida. It was formulated for places that have fast draining soil like Hawaii and don't have a lot of the P and the NPK. And so we tell people to use an even numbered, so a 13, 13, 13 or a 14, 14, 14, and that tree's going to love that food, and it will keep it healthy. Another good thing to do is to throw Epsom salt underneath the tree, and the plain old Epsom salt, not the scented stuff. And you throw a handful or two underneath that tree right before it rains, and then the roots absorb the Epsom salt, and then it helps the root growth, which then allows better, darker green leaves. The other thing when you're watering is we like to call it a Hawaiian shower. So you turn your hose on to a mist and spray over the top. And the way I explain it is it's like washing the glass on a solar panel. So those leaves are that tree's solar panel. And if they're covered with dirt and soot, one of the trees we're going to show in the picture is right on the 8 freeway. And when we went to go trim that tree, the leaves were black from all the soot coming off the highway.
No kidding. How well do plumerias tend to grow? I mean, obviously being from a Caribbean environment, how well do they tend to do in the drier climate of Southern California?
We have the second best climate than the natural climate of the Caribbean and Hawaiian Islands. We're lucky enough we don't get a freeze. Normally, I live coastal San Diego. I live in Chula Vista, 3 miles from the coast. So I'm a little different than some people. But, in Texas, every fall, they have to dig up all their plumerias and store them in a greenhouse or in a garage because Houston got snow this year or last year and freeze, and they can't handle the cold. They can get into the high 30s for a couple of hours a night, but over a multiple days, they're going to freeze and die. There are people growing them indoors in Canada, Chicago. I'm going up next weekend. You're doing something on Father's Day. I do a plumeria sale up in San Jose, and there's people up there that love plumerias, and they build greenhouses in their backyards and throw their plants in the backyard all winter, and then bring them out after the chance of first frost is gone, or last frost, I should say. And then come spring, they're out there again until September, and they put them all away.
Got it. I live in Indio.
Right.
So we live about 3 feet from the surface of the sun, or hell, take your pick.
Right.
How well do plumerias tend to do in the desert heat down here?
So we have a member who lives in Hemet.
The big difference. Big difference.
Still hotter, huh? They will handle the heat, but
back on 15 degrees.
You would want to stick with the light colored ones and not the rainbow ones.
Okay.
So like behind Svea's head is what we would call a rainbow. The light colored ones have a lot of fragrance, and they can handle the heat more than the sun will just burn everything out of and bleach them white. A red one, even in San Diego, by the end of the day is already turned to light pink. It'll open up red in the morning or in the evening, and then by 3 o'clock the next day, it's down to like a light pink.
So they tend to be that sensitive to light in the weather conditions.
Yes.
So it's not good. Plumerias aren't considered a real hardy plant generally, or are they?
They are hardy. It's just that they're, we're taking plants out of their natural environment, even growing them out of over years and years and years. They found one in, was that 7,800 feet in I think it was around Costa Rica, but maybe further north than that. And there's another one called Sierra Madre that was at 6,000 feet in Mexico, growing wild.
Nope.
And so there are some species, both of them are plain white. There are some species that are now kind of cold tolerant.
Yeah. I noticed it's true about the white ones. They're very hardy. So like I have I'll show you guys a picture in a little bit. I call it Mama Leilani. That one, it has white flowers and it is so hardy. It's like you can do pretty much anything and it won't die, and the leaves stay out all year round. But the white ones for sure. But there are a lot of people, like what Jeff said, growing plumerias in different climates. There's plenty of them in Arizona, and Arizona gets super hot. You just have to kind of place them and water them in areas where they would be successful.
A lot of people that do that in Arizona, they do what's called plunging. So they'll dig a hole and put the pot in the ground. And then come wintertime, if there's a chance for cold, they can just yank the pot out of the ground real quick and throw it in the garage for the night and then bring it back out the next day.
Yep. Yeah.
We've got a friend that does that. With that, is it time to bring out some of the slides to show some of those? Should we get
let's show some of the pictures. Let's share some of those awesome pictures we have.
Because Jeff, we're going to get into the pictures that you sent us.
Okay.
Of the Plumerias and what you do, which is just so fascinating. So bear with right quick, and we'll get that up. Okay. So this should be all right. Here's the first picture.
This is the one I was talking about, the one that's right on the 8. And if you look close down at the trunk of the tree and see those 5-gallon buckets, you can see how old that tree is.
Wow.
Let's zoom in on this picture. So the buckets are going to be over toward the distance where the orange is.
Just off to the right of the trunk. Right there.
Yeah, so take a little zoom in on that.
Wow. Oh my gosh, that's a huge tree.
And see all the branches in the back? That's what we took off that tree.
Wow.
And then we take them to the meeting and sell them. And you can see all the spots on the branches there where we cut the old branches down to get that canopy higher. She told me that she was 7 years old in 1950, early 50s. I think she said 50 or 51. And she brought that back on the ship from Hawaii as a kid. And they planted that in the backyard. Those two trees next to it are branches that broke off of that big tree, and they just stuck them in the ground. And one of the projects we did, and it took 2 weeks to, we only trim on Saturdays, and everybody's a volunteer, and I usually just pay my volunteers with free cuttings from the tree that we trimmed. They can pick a couple of cuttings each, and they're pretty happy about that.
Got it. So we ready for the next slide, or?
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, just give me a second here.
No
so
problem.
Let's go and get the next one up. And there we go.
So this tree on the right was the stick that was bought at the Army surplus store in Long Beach in 1950.
Wow.
Bud Galat was a World War II door gunner in a B-29 and was shot down. Well, actually, the plane next to them was shot down, and that plane hit their plane, and they crashed. And he spent the rest of the war in Stalag 17. And when he came back, he was just at the Army surplus store shopping and saw this stick, and so he bought it and he took it home. And that tree, until last year, was growing in Huntington Beach. We're standing on the roof, on the first floor roof eave, when I took the picture, and the tree is even with the eave on the second floor of the house. Wow. And that's the color of the flower. But when you take that flower 4 miles inland to Anaheim Hills, it is dark red.
Changes. Mm-hmm.
And because Huntington Beach has got the cooler weather. But the new owner of the house had the trees cut down after she bought it, and there's nothing left. It all went to the dump.
Oh.
So I can imagine. I'll bring up the next photo, but I just want to think, when somebody does that, and Svea, you know where we're going with this. We're going to do the miles late to the show look. When somebody does that, is this probably the look on your face?
As soon as someone took a picture of the front of the house, with no trees, because there was trees on the side yard. There was another tree that I was in front of or behind when I took that picture, and he named it California Sally, and it was taller than the peak of the second floor of the house.
Wow.
Not just the eave.
Very a tree.
And
we'll get back to the good stuff here.
So are there cuttings of this tree that's been saved?
There are cuttings all over this tree. I trim a tree every couple of years in La Mesa that is as tall as this tree. The cutting came from this tree.
Oh, well, that's good.
If you look at the different plumeria growers, it's called Galat's Sunset, and it's available pretty much. Everybody's got a cutting from the Galat Sunset trees. from
Oh,
previous times, not from the final chop down. But
Got it. So let's go on to the next photo here. And we have this one, which is a good story.
this is tomorrow's trees.
Yeah.
This is about 80 or 90 trees on a hillside above Sweetwater Reservoir.
Wow.
They brought a cutting back from Hawaii years and years and years ago, and it's growing up on top of up above these. These are all the cuttings that they took off of that tree over the years and then just stuck in the ground on the hillside. And so when that goes into bloom, it's just a solid wall of white and pink flowers.
Wow, that is so amazing.
Yeah. What I'm loving is the fact is that as you're pointing out the history with the Plumerias that came from Hawaii, or especially from the World War II veteran, that we're actually seeing a tangible trail and in a way a heritage coming from those that are coming back from the European, coming back from World War II, or doing that. But we're seeing a direct effects with the Plumerias on that. So we're seeing almost a living heritage in a way. I mean, I don't think this is much of a stretch to refer to that way.
Well, I started a Facebook page called Plumeria Trees of San Diego. And I'm cataloging the trees that we trim them. And I'm only putting the neighborhood, not the address, obviously, but the neighborhood where those trees are. And then I'm getting the story from the homeowners. There was another tree. We don't have a picture of it, but that we went and took the tree out because the son inherited the house from his dad when his dad passed, and he didn't want the tree in the front yard anymore. It was in Sarah Mason. It took up the whole front yard of the house.
Wow.
And when we cut that tree down, it took 3 of us to get the stump into a trailer. It was so big. And and that tree was originally from Hawaii. The cutting came from another tree that came from a tree in Hawaii on Houston Street in Honolulu, in front of the Willows restaurant.
Yes. Yes. What was the name of that Facebook group? San Diego.
San Diego. No, Plumeria Trees of San Diego.
Okay, I'm gonna put this down. Plumeria
Trees. I want to show it on the show.
I'm putting it into the chat so people can
Sure.
see what it's called. Okay. I'll show it right now.
Do we have
and that's the blooms from that tree on the hillside, and the white, normal white and yellow, but that pink band on the back. It's a nice fragrance, but it's a thick petal, good for making leis. And that's why she liked that tree. And that's why they made so many. So when the grandkids came over, they would pick blooms and make leis.
That is really cool. That was actually the next thing I was going to ask you about, making crafts. So how would you, so this is probably a ballpark, but how many flowers would you say it takes to make a lei?
Well, usually you can do it with 50 if you just go through the center of the flower. Mm-hmm. But I made one for a radio guy's wife. I spent 4 hours and it took over 400 flowers because I took the needle and I put it through the end. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, so you made like 1, a 2, wire.
So it was like this big around, but all the flowers stuck out. It weighed like 10 pounds. And,
wow.
You put one of those on, and if it's a fragrant flower, it gets overpowering. The easiest thing to do is I usually just take 5 flowers and I make a hairpiece on a bobby pin, and then I did it for my daughter. She was doing a speaking engagement. She was wearing a kimono. And I said, hey, you're missing something. And I made a nice flower arrangement and put it in her hair. And then she went and did her speaking.
Oh, that's nice.
So we have a couple more here.
So the picture on the right, we got a call on a Friday that said, on Tuesday, they're tearing down this wall. If somebody doesn't come get these trees, the landscaper is going to just take them, or the construction guy is going to take them to the dump. So we went over there on a Saturday morning. We dug all 4 trees up and we drove them to La Mesa and we put them in my helper's front yard.
Wow.
And he got 3 of them and I kept 1. And the trees will continue to grow, and you can see they're pretty hardy. The biggest thing that I noticed, and that can go back to the very beginning, what we talked about, is they were all planted too deep. So plumerias like shallow roots, and if you plant deeper than 4 inches, you kill the plant, you kill the tree, and it'll just rot from the bottom up till about 4 inches from the soil line, and then start putting out new roots. But if it's a big tree and it's trying to do that, you can lose it. So when we put those in the ground, we dug about a 9-inch deep hole, set the root ball in, and then we just put the dirt right back inside and put all those, you can see all the stakes. We put steel stakes driven into the ground so that they're not going to go anywhere.
My apologies. Let me
And then
that's really great advice, because I have my Mama Leilani needs to be planted, and its trunk is about 4 to 5 inches in diameter. It's in a pot right now, but when I plant that, I have to plant it with that in mind. That's really great advice.
See the discoloration on the farthest one on the trunk?
It was deep.
Two different colors. That's how deep it was.
Oh wow!
And then the middle one, you can see the coloring right at the base, right there, where it was too deep over in Coronado. And these things grew. You were asking about blooms. You can see how those are 4 foot long branches, and they haven't bloomed yet this year. I mean, they probably won't bloom because they were transplanted, but we dug them up and we kept most of their roots intact and put them in the back of the truck.
Yeah.
And the next slide is how we packed the truck and drove to La Mesa with them.
let's go ahead and get that next slide up right quick.
Sure.
Just bear with me. There was an update to PowerPoint, and all of a sudden it's behaving differently for us. So bear with. That's unusual. There we go. Not of all time for PowerPoint to do that. So we have.
I think you just had to forward.
Yeah.
It's being weird. Do you want me to show mine and you can?
No, we're good. We're good. Here we go.
Okay.
So the next one's going to be. There we go.
There it is.
Wow.
We tied them down. We used tie straps. We used buckets underneath the trunks, and we drove right past a Coronado police officer, and he just went. I was right behind the driver, and the Coronado cop just went, watching the car go by. I was waiting to see if he was going to stop, if he was going to flip his lights or not, and he let us go across the bridge, so we were good. And we got him there. We backed the truck up the driveway, carried him onto the drive, and dug holes and put them in the ground. And that's how easy it is really to transplant a plumeria also. They don't have a massive root
get in the back of a truck while keeping the structural integrity of the tree too.
Yeah, well, we did take a few branches off, ones that were growing out wonky. The one in my front yard, I cut one of the branches off. It was growing out at a 90-degree angle. The rest of them were growing upward. And so there was no way to fit it in the back of the truck on top of all these. So I cut one branch off and then it fit.
Got it.
So what we do with the cuttings. So we have a meeting on Sunday. We meet at Gene Farb Middle School. And if you go to the website, which you already have on the have for them available, plumeriasociety.com, but it's like Southern California plumeriasociety.com long. We meet on this Sunday, for instance, normally the second Sunday of the month at noon. The meeting starts at 1. At noon, I bring all the cuttings that we've cut for the trees for the previous couple of weeks. And then we sell them for $5, $10, $15, depending on size. All of that goes to a $10,000 endowment at the University of Hawaii. Our guest speaker on Sunday is the recipient, the professor who's in charge of all the plumerias for the University of Hawaii.
Wow.
He's the one that we write the check to. And if anybody's ever been to Coco Crater on Oahu, that is the Hawaii's Plumeria Grove, and it has all big, huge, giant trees that have been there forever. And a couple of years ago, they had some really bad rains, and Dr. Criley asked us if we could help them, and we gave them $8,000 to pay for the irrigation system. And we gave them a blank check, but we told them that the students have to do the install. You're not going to hire an irrigation company. So they made a class on irrigation, and the students went and put it out. And we paid for all the goodies with our cutting money.
I think, Svea, you've got some Plumerias you want to show for
Yes, I do want to show. I have some
your
cool-
garden, because you're going to show yours, and I'll show my garden.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to take off the brand because I totally didn't think about that when I was doing our thing here. Okay.
One
So
says Walmart.
Huh?
One says Walmart right there.
Oh, no. So this is actually my first bloom ever. It took me 7 years to get this bloom. And the interesting story about this is that this tree, this one, and I have another one, they both came from cuttings from a house in Pacific Beach. The cuttings were there, turned into huge trees, kind of the same story. They're from Hawaii. She was a military wife that brought them from Hawaii to San Diego, planted them there. When the house was sold, unfortunately, the trees were cut down, which I'm sad about. But I have some of the things, some of those trees, so they still exist. And they are my two oldest that I have. So it's kind of a cool story about that. This is actually, you guys, I wanted to show you, this is a plant. It's named Gina. And you can see the color on the left is like really kind of bright fuchsia. And the color on the right is actually when the color is faded. So Jeff was talking about how the sun will fade the colors. It's about like a couple weeks later, 2 to 3 weeks later, you can see how the color changes. So it's kind of interesting. You see that kind of thing. This is my favorite plumeria, and it is in Disneyland. And it's in between Frontierland and Adventureland. There's a planter right in the middle. And it doesn't have flowers yet because I've been watching every time I go. This was taken last year, this picture. This is such a pretty color. It's like pink. So it's just, I love to look at this one every time I go. And I wish I could get a cutting of it. I'm sure everyone wants a cutting of it. It's a beautiful tree. This one is actually, I call it Mama Leilani. This one is that tree that I have. This one was in Orange County, and my friend, she was going to get rid of it. And I drove from San Diego to Orange County. I had to cut down the canopy to make it fit in my car. And I drove it home, planted it at my mom's house in Vista to help acclimate it because orange is so much more. We live inland, so we live in Escondido. So it was in Vista for about 3 years, acclimating to Vista. And then now it's in Escondido, but it's in a pot. So this is a huge, it had probably like a 9-foot canopy, and we just cut it back the best we could. But it still hasn't grown a lot of branches yet, but I haven't really put it in ground really. It's been in a pot, and it probably wants to be like in like ground with water and like regular nutrition. And so then what Jeff was talking about, how people will put the plumerias into protection. So I used to have a condo, and during the winter, I would take all my plumerias, I would huddle them together, and I would make this makeshift greenhouse. And I would even put it on a heater so that it didn't get too cold in there. And so it was a really great way to save my plumerias from any kind of too much cold, because they are sensitive to cold. And then this is a start of an inflow, which is the start of the flowers. So it's kind of a cool thing. I don't know if you've seen it before. And then this is kind of a fun thing that I wanted to share with you. It's called Friends of Plumerias. So there's the coolest thing that I love about Plumerias is that all the time I get to see all these really cool praying mantids hanging out on my Plumerias. They're just hanging around. I take pictures of them. They pose for my cameras all the time. They stop and look at me, and they're like, doing all the all the looks.
Oh, they'll pose.
Yeah, they
Totally.
definitely. I've seen all kinds of colored ones. I've seen green ones. I've seen like tan ones. I've seen ones that are a little bit more of like a red color. But it's interesting to see all the Plumeria. I mean, those guys. And then if you ever see ladybugs on your Plumerias, that's totally good. They're friends. And then Mochi is a bug hunter. So he actually will eat those bugs if he gets a chance. So it's kind of a funny, that's a kind of funny picture. These are enemies. They're enemies. So this flower on the left upper corner, or right upper corner, this was my actual first bloom that I had. It got chewed up by a grasshopper, and I never got a chance to see that bloom open. And then, the one I have a picture where I showed you was the first bloom. That was actually my second flower that actually I had a first real full flower. This one got chewed up. But yeah, the grasshoppers, the catids, the green ones, that they look like grasshoppers, but they look like a leaf. They're bad. Aphids are bad. Spider mites are bad. So, and then I put this here. This is a whole bunch of information about different groups, including the Southern California Plumeria Society in San Diego. This is their information, and really a great wealth of information. From if you have any questions about Plumerias, there's lots of people that are out there to help and give lots and lots of information, which is really wonderful. And that's what's nice about this Plumeria group, that all these people that I've met through Plumeria, they're all really helpful. And so they have so much information, and it's so cool to learn all this stuff about Plumerias. I learned so much even tonight, and I have been growing my Plumerias for years.
Me too.
Yeah.
I didn't know Plumerias grew on a tree till tonight. I'm definitely getting the education.
Yeah. So, Jeff, you said that on Sunday there's a meeting
Yes.
for the San Diego Plumeria Society. I mean, the Southern California Plumeria Society.
Yes. So it's interesting. We're Southern California, and then there's a South Coast in Orange County. And they use the same letters, but they split off from us because we have more members than the Plumeria Society of America. We have 500 plus members that pay their dues every year. Monthly meetings, plus, 2 weekends ago we had our cutting sale. But in September, if you want to do something fun, if anybody wants to do something fun, our Plumeria Festival is. I always get those weekends backwards. Labor Day weekend.
Oh.
And it's at Casa del Prado in Balboa Park. The upper patio is dancing and music, and 5 food vendors, all Hawaiian style. And then down in the room, the first room is a craft area. The second room is all plants, and then the patio are the plants and the trees that the vendors will have available. And it's really a fun time, mainly because I get to eat the malasadas are there, and I don't eat shave ice, but I'll eat a lot of malasadas and plate lunches.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's cool.
I think we've got some viewer comments we want to go over and a couple of questions. I think we should probably say that for the end.
Well, let's go over that because we're starting to run out of time. We're getting close.
Yeah, I just want to go over my garden thing, but should we save my garden for the end?
Yeah, the save yours for the end.
Save it for the end. So, folks, we know you've got some questions for us, and we're going to go through that with Jeff and show him some comments and some questions and knock those out for the next couple minutes. And let's get her to it because we got some good stuff here. So we're both, Svea are probably both working my clip on the same one. But some fun comments right here from Joya. What a great Plumeria mom to Svea. Wendy, I got to get that one here. Wendy says, cutting down tree. These are just so sad. Always makes me mad when trees are hacked down for no reason, especially ones that had a history. And yeah, she says, yeah, she's a hippie. The hippie can take out Chuck Norris. All right, with that, some others. We have Maya says, beautiful. Joya says, wow, 7 years for the bloom.
This one's good.
Yep. I was learning something new on this show. I love it. Never knew Plumerias were in the succulent family. I didn't know that till tonight. Here's a really good question, actually, from Joya. Is can you ship a cutting?
Oh yeah, I just shipped a box. It was $132 with about 60 cuttings to Florida. I gave them to her for free, but the shipping is the hard part. You know, I buy them from Hawaii, and I pay, should I say, sometimes 75, sometimes 100 for one. But some of the ones that you find that are from JL Plumerias, you'll never find anywhere growing on the mainland. And if you're lucky, there's a few of them here, but Jim Little has a 20-acre farm on the north shore of Oahu outside of Haleiwa, and there's 10,000 trees on the property. They grow everything from seeds, and when it takes a seedling three bloom cycles before you know what the bloom's going to be. And then at the third bloom cycle, he says yes or no. And if he says no, it goes out into a big pile of branches. And if he says yes, it gets released. And the first release of the branches off those trees are like $500 each.
Yeah.
But amazing blooms from Jim Little Plumeria.
Yeah, I'm getting the sign of that. We have a quick one from Wendy Hodge. Wow, that's the most. That's almost more sensitive to sun than redheads. Wendy's a redhead.
Yeah,
you got it. Kelly Jo Miller says aromatherapy.
Yes.
Especially that lady you said you did with you said 400?
Yes.
On that day? That had to be so powerful.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So
wonderful walking through that property.
Well, you know, Mike, who was going to be on here, I took his place. He has a Airbnb on his property, and he has 2 acres on Mount Helix.
Wow!
And you get to sleep surrounded by plumeria trees. There's a couple hundred trees on his property.
Wow!
And,
throw that on Disneyland. Svea's got a place she'll never leave. You'll have to drag her out.
Well, I think it's already booked for the whole year.
Oh wow! That's amazing. Yeah, but yeah, there's plumerias are just such cool flowers. I've learned so much about them. I keep learning every day, every year, and I just love that they just are such unique flowers, and they take their, before plumerias, I would kill my plants all the time, and for some reason, I'm able to keep them alive. Maybe it's just my ability of neglect, like the amount of neglect.
That's a lot of it.
Yeah.
It's really neglect. For instance, one of the San Jose people a couple of years ago, I took a cutting from a tree. We dip all of our cuttings in sulfur. We don't use rooting hormone. Rooting hormone is 1/8 of a teaspoon of IBA, which is a rooting hormone, added to 2 or talcum powder. And so sulfur, we brought a professor down from UC Davis, and he told us when they do all of their succulents, they dip them in sulfur, and it gives nutrients to the plant. So I dipped it in sulfur, and we wrapped a bag around it and left it the base open, just so that the sulfur wouldn't spill in the car. When she put it in her greenhouse, when she went to open the greenhouse in the spring, she pulled out this cutting that was in the back, and the bag was full of roots. It air rooted in the bag just by dipping it in sulfur. And so we're big proponents about using sulfur. All of our growers or all of our vendors, they dip in sulfur. No one uses rooting hormone anymore because we paid students at Cuyamaca College to do an experiment. We gave them the money and we gave them the cuttings several years ago, and they tried all different types of rooting hormones, and they didn't see any difference with just plain rooting it in a bag of core, ground coconut husk.
Really? Wow.
We have a comment here. Sulfur equals eggs and poop.
There you go.
Nail it, Joya. And then another one right here. Another comment is good to know about sulfur. Didn't know that.
Yeah.
Come to our meetings. In the March meeting, I talked all about it. So we have really good. Well, not just me, but we have everybody that talks has got a lot of knowledge in plumerias. Like I'm saying, like Dr. Criley on Sunday. But we had people talk at the beginning of the year their favorite flowers. Mike did waking your plumerias up. Then usually in the fall, Mike does one about putting your plumerias to bed. You know, we don't water between. His rule of thumb is you don't water between Thanksgiving and March 17th, St. Patrick's Day. No water. When
I
they're
had
asleep, they can't drink.
Well,
Yeah.
St. Patrick's Day is a great way to beat that fast. You can take a drinking again.
Yeah.
And then in March, you mix up a big concoction and pour it on them, and they wake up.
Got it. All right.
Pretty
So
good.
we're at 11 o'clock right now. We got to wrap up business real fast.
Okay.
Real fast. Huh?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
So,
well,
folks,
yeah. Go ahead, James. Tell us
Was I
about
making
your
a-
garden. Do you have a garden, James?
yeah, well, this was the segue to get over the big announcement at the end of the show. All right. So, folks, very quick to wrap up this. I want to show, we got to see Svea's garden, great stuff. I want to show my garden that I have here in my house. I want to show off some of my plants. First of all, we also have a variant of Baby Groot. Always wonderful. Yeah, Baby Groot. And here's a picture, slice of my backyard. You can see it behind me. I've been in my garden. It just happens to look like the forest part of Pandora.
Oh, and you have rainbows in your backyard too?
Oh,
wow.
yeah. It's a special thing with the sprinklers. It's actually a really high roofed greenhouse
Okay.
with something that looks like the Hallelujah Mountains on Pandora.
Okay. All right. Great.
And then, of course, we also have the mushroom garden, the mushroom section.
wow. Is that your mom?
You can grow big or small, or the mushroom does. Take your pick.
Hey, James, is that your mom?
No. There's just a random stranger going through my yard that looks like Alice from Wonderland.
Okay.
And then we have another part of the garden that we liked a little more exotic. Right here is we have the pod section of my garden.
Interesting.
Well, it has pod people in it. I have an unusual garden. And we go over there. We also have, this is one of my favorite parts, a new plant that we've developed at our Equal Labs. And this plant right here, does not have a scientific name, but I'm giving it a common name of Svea 2. Just because it sounds like Audrey 2, we're calling it Svea 2 in honor of Svea, with her big teeth and latches onto you and surprise. What?
Okay. All right.
It's all positives. It's all positives. And with that, folks, that brings us to another part of we got a little special activity tomorrow night. You want to tell it or shall I?
Yeah, so we want to invite you guys, our viewers, our friends, to join us on Zoom. We're going to have just an impromptu, fun little movie night, and we're going to watch Little Shop of Horrors. It'll be fun.
And we're going to Mystery Science Theater 3000, Little Shop of Horrors.
Mm-hmm.
Which means it's all fun because Little Shop of Horrors is like one of my favorite musicals ever.
Yeah. Yes. So if you guys want to attend, you need to email us at latenightcrafttalk@gmail.com and we will send invites.
Yep. We're keeping it where we have to send it out so we don't have any like bad people come on and get on there and
and dance.
Well, one time we had craft now. We had somebody going over showing their butt.
Yeah, that was pretty unusual.
Yes. We're going to keep it clean because we might have some kids that sign on to watch the show. And so we do that. And I was going to have fun doing a whole musical dance into the theme song. So I've been listening to the theme song a few times. I've been in this Little Shop of Horror kick for the soundtrack for like 2 weeks off and on.
Yeah.
So this will hopefully help quell that. But I just want a chance to go over and rock out to You'll Be a Dentist song.
Yes. Awesome.
Because I don't know which one of us here shot puppies with a BB gun. Folks, it's the line of the song. It's not something we actually did.
So I wanted to give an extra special thank you to Jeff for coming on and being up late with us.
Yeah, I'm usually in bed at 9.
So I know, but thank you so much. And
Oh, no problem. This is fun.
Yay! Thank you so much.
What do you think, Jeff? Before we go, just one last question. What do you think of the possibility of being able to hybridize the Svea 2 plant to grow also Plumerias on its branches?
We could graft something, maybe.
Graft or duct tape or staples?
They graft
Bailey
easy.
wire. Okay, well, I'm just trying to make something that's more inclusive that Svea will appreciate, because apparently she doesn't appreciate Svea too.
Oh,
So I'm
my
trying to make it
goodness.
more.
Oh my God. No. But yeah, I wanted to know this really quick. So Carolyn said, thank you, Jeff, for enlightening us on Plumerias, Svea and James for tonight's show.
My pleasure.
Yes. And everyone's saying, thank you, yay. So, but thank you again so much. We really appreciate it. And at the end of the show, I forgot to tell you, we like to dance because we've been sitting here for an hour. So we're going to play our music. And if you'd like to dance with us, we dance.
Absolutely. And when you see the closing credits, when it gets toward the end, we'll explain it afterward. Just don't get weirded out. We have a lot of Easter eggs in our opening closing credits.
Okay. You ready?
Yeah.
All right, folks.
Oh,
This has been this week's episode. I'm looking for the closing video. There it is. Okay.
That's too good.
Oh, this has been this
There
week's
you go.
episode of Late
You
Night
can see
Craft
me
Talk.
now.
Next week, we will be back. We're going to be talking about mini staycations. Is that correct, Svea?
Yes. Yes.
Mini
There you
staycations
go, Mike's
and
house.
short fun trips you can do over the summer that are near your house, or things to look for, ways to get creative with that. We'll see you next week. Thank you much for watching. Jeff, thank you. Thank you.
Good night.
Okay. Ready?
Get 5 stars. That's cool.
Aw, ain't he cute?
Okay, that's the part you don't freak out about. Good night, folks.
Hi, everyone.